guys, Laura here. I'm here today to do my January 2019 reading TBR. I'm about to embark on the craziest 6 months of my life. For those of you that have not been following me for the past 6 months, I became a theater teacher in September in the New York City public school system, and this is my first year that I am working towards a production. We are doing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory at the end of May. I'm so excited for this new adventure. I've been wanting to direct a show on my own since I could remember, so I'm so excited. And I'm hopeful that I could keep up my reading progress. Reading has always been to me an escape and a break, and I think in the past 6 months, not that I haven't enjoyed reading, but I think I've been so overwhelmed that I've kind of forgot to read, so I'm trying to incorporate it back into my life, and I think the number one thing I really want to do this year is just be more organized. So thank you, Owl Crate, so much for giving me this awesome planner that I am planning literally everything that I'm doing. I'm planning all my Bookstagram posts. I'm planning all my YouTube videos. Right now, at the recording of this video, you guys have videos up until the end of January, and they're all pre-recorded. Which is super exciting for you guys because you guys will definitely have content, which is great. So let's get into what I hope to read in the month of January. The first two books I'm going to chat about are the Time Warp YA book clubs that we are featuring this month. The link will always be in the description box. You guys can join anytime. The first book that we're talking about is Thorn of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. That is the first book in the Throne of Glass series. Last month we read The Assassin's Blade. This is a reread for me, but it's been a while since I reread this series, so I'm actually super excited to dive back in to this series. And also the other book is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, which is a murder mystery set at a boarding school, which I am so excited for. And I'm also meeting Maureen Johnson at the end of the month at a book signing, which I'm really excited about. So that's the Time Warp YA book club books. Now let's get into my physical TBR. I have developed a couple of cups in my room, which I've been starting to pull books out of. So some of these came from here. Some of these are books that are just coming out this month, and some are just books that I'm really intrigued by. So the first book where I'm going to read, hopefully, is Dreamfall by Amy Plum. I got this last year from my friend Sarah for I think this is for Christmas, I think, if I remember. It might have been for my birthday. But this is about a girl and boy, about a group of teens that really cannot fall asleep. They have constant insomnia. They get picked for this experimental procedure, and the first time they do it, nothing happens. The second time they do it, catastrophic things happen, and they are actually find themselves together in a shared dream world with no memory of how they got there, which is slightly terrifying, let me just tell you. And Carl have tried to figure out what happened to them and how they came to be where they were trapped in a place that their worst nightmares come to life. That sounds terrifying, but I'm really excited to read this. It's actually super short, so hopefully I like this book as well. And yeah, it's actually a really short book, so I'm hopeful that I will get to read this all really, really fast. But this is the first book that is on my TBR. The next book that's on my TBR is The Last Life of Prince Alistair, which is by Alexandra Bracken. This is the second book and the conclusion to that duology of the Prospero Redding series. I don't want to get too much into this book because I don't want to give you guys spoilers, but if you're looking for kind of a creepy middle grade read, I highly recommend this series. This book is great to read around Halloween. And the first book was about this boy. His family has a curse, and the curse is that you are connected to a demon, basically. There was a really shocking ending that really changed the game, so I'm excited to see how Alex wraps up this series in the end of this, and I'm really excited to read this, but this does come out in February, so I'm reading it a little bit early, and I did get this book signed to me, which is awesome, which means if Alex comes back to town, I'm going to have to get her to sign a hardback of this for me. And I got this at BEA in May. The next book that is on my TBR, I have it as Breathe. I know that the name of the book changed. I think it's One Breath Apart, if I'm remembering correctly. But this is a novel from Katie McGarry, which she writes very gritty and emotional contemporary novels. And it's about Jesse dreams of working the land that's been in his family's forever. but he's cursed to lose everything he loves most. Scarlet is desperate to escape her charmed life, but leaving a small town is easier said than done. Despite their history of heartbreak, when Jesse sees a way that they can work together to get reward, Scarlet can't say no. Each midnight meeting between Jesse and Scarlet will push them to confront their secrets and their feelings for each other. My friend got this for me at ALA last year. I just never got around to reading it. Normally her books have dual perspectives, so I'm actually really excited to read this book. Hopefully I like it as much as I read her other ones, and I can finally dive back in and read Say You'll Remember Me by Katie McGarry as well. The next book that is on my TBR is Circle of Shadows by Evelyn Skye. I got this book at BEA. No, I got this book at New York City Comic Con. I haven't actually read her other series, but this is a thrilling new fantasy series inspired by feudal Japan, perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo and Renee Ahdieh. I'm also seeing her at the end of this month, so I would love to actually read this book before I go there to decide if I want her to sign my ARC or buy a physical copy. Still not sure. And I love books that explore different types of settings that I have not been. Japan, China are books that I tend to be driven to their fantasy world. So hopefully I like this. If I like this book as well as I think I will probably wind up picking up the Crowns Game, which I do own. I just haven't quite read it yet. Another book that is on my TBR for this month also includes I'm going to meet this author at the end of January, is Evermore by Sarah Holland. I did get this book a little bit early. Don't shoot me or yell at me in the comments. I just really wanted to read it early, and it was out at my local Barnes & Noble. But I loved Everless by Sarah Holland. I thought it was such a cool novel about how you turn your blood into currency, and that can lessen your life or extend your life. Thought it was so interesting. I really like Jules as a main character. This cover is gorgeous, by the way. Such a pretty cover. And I'm really excited to dive back into this world hopefully soon and get to meet her at the end of January. Another book that is on my TBR is The Girl King by Mimi Yu, and this is another book set, I think, in... You know, I don't know if this is set in China or Japan. I'm not sure, but I know it's about two sisters become eminent rivals in a war to claim the title of emperor in this richly imagined Asian-inspired fantasy for fans of Renee Ahdieh and Saba Tahir. I got this at my Bloomsbury team meeting that I went to a couple of months back, but I'm really excited to read this. She actually signed this book for me as well, and I hope that I like it. So I will give that, and this is actually a pretty big book. This is just about 470 pages, so hopefully I like it. And again, I tend to like books that deal with Asian-inspired environments just because I have never been to those countries, and I love to see how fantasy worlds attack those types of settings. Another book that is on my TBR, which I really need to read this because a kid in my class keeps wanting to talk about it with me, and I have not read it yet. That is The Burning Maze by Rick Riordan. This book, I've heard, really, really changes the game in this series, and I'm so excited to dive into it. And also, the next book comes out in May, which means I have to get my butt in gear to read this. But I really do like this series. I love the narrator, and I love seeing characters that you haven't seen in a while, like from the Percy Jackson series. I think that Grover is going to be in this book, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm really excited to finally dive back into this world. And then another book that, in the last 3 books, or 4 books, all came from BEA. One is Light Between Worlds by Laura E. Wayman. Hey, that's my name. And this is what happens when you return to the real world after being in a fantastical one like Narnia. And I've heard a little bit mixed things about this. It follows 2 sisters. They were swept away to a strange magical kingdom, but when they return to their current world, they are currently in the middle of World War II. I think one of the girls goes missing, and that kind of gets them wrapped up into a mystery. The real cover is so pretty. I'm really excited for this book. Hopefully I like it. I don't read a lot of historical fiction, but I really did like Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. It kind of was like similar, but not really similar. And I've heard really good things about Every Heart is a Doorway and Among the Sticks and Bones, which is kind of a similar concept. So hopefully I like it. And then the last couple Priscilla books are all from BEA. The next one is Never Contented Things by Sarah Porter. This actually doesn't come out until March, but it is Be the First to Encounter These Dark Fairies. Dark fairies are back with a vengeance. Prince and his fairy courtiers are staggeringly beautiful, astonishing, cruel, and exhausted by the tedium of centuries, until they meet foster siblings Josh and Keeson. Driven by their vivid emotion, undying love for each other, passion for life, Prince will stop at nothing to possess them. First sedated and then entrapped by fairies, Josh and Kissa learn that the fairies' otherworldly gifts come at a terrible price, and they must risk everything to reclaim their freedom. That's really glary. I did get this from Owl Crate. I know that the cover did change, and this book is probably like a lot shorter than it was, but I am going to read the arc that I have, and then if a lot of things change, I'll probably wind up listening to the audiobook just to compare and contrast. But yeah, I'm super excited for this read. I really love Cruel Prince and Wicked King, and hopefully this book is just the fairy antidote that I need. Another book that I got there was Similars, and this is 6 Clones, One to Leave Boarding School, and Countless Deadly Secrets. This comes from Source Books. And yeah, I love science fiction themed novels, and this sounds really cool. And according to my friend Sarah, because she picked the number, the first book I am reading in 2019 after Truly Devious probably will be The Me I Am Meant to Be by Sophie Jordan. And this is just a really quick contemporary novel. I think it's probably breaks a little bit younger, probably like early, like middle school, high school. And after I read this, I'll probably pass it on to the kids that I work with. But those are all the books that I hope to read in January 2019. I know stuff will change. I still have library books that I do have out that I just didn't add to this video. But this is my plan of attack. Let me know in the comments what books do you really want to tackle in 2019. And yeah, and I'll talk to you guys later.